Hey fam, welcome back to my channel. So, Gazelle Intense, what is it? If you don't follow Dave Ramsey, you may not know what that is. So, let me explain it. He got it from Proverbs 6, 4 through 5, and let me read it for you. Oh, where are my readers? Ah, that's better. Give no sleep to your eyes, nor slumber to your eyelids. Deliver yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter, and like a bird from the hand of the fowler. Proverbs 6, 4 through 5. So he uses this from the Bible as an analogy for debt pursuing its prey. So debt is the cheetah in this instance, and the gazelle is freedom. So it represents us as folks who are getting debt free. At least this is my interpretation of it, that we are freeing ourselves from debt as if our lives depend on it. A cheetah is the fastest land animal, and so you would expect that a cheetah would always catch a gazelle, which is not the fastest land animal. But there are times when that gazelle gets away, a lot of times, in fact. And he goes into depth about the fact that the gazelle uses strategy to get away from the cheetah. And he mentions that the cheetah normally runs in a straight line, so the gazelle may weave its pattern to get away and all of this other stuff. I will link in the description his website so you can go check it out and read more of the details that he talks about in this. But that's essentially what he's saying, is we must free ourselves as if our lives depend on it. And of course I've heard that, being a follower of Dave Ramsey. What even is in verse 4 I hadn't really picked up on. It said, don't sleep, stay woke when it comes to debt freedom. And I was like, whoa, okay. So there you go. Sometimes along the way I ask myself, like, are you gazelle intense? And sometimes I'm like, girl, yeah, you gazelle intense. Yeah. And then sometimes I'm like, no, not today, not this week. You hadn't been gazelle intense. So I wanted to share with you ways I am and am not gazelle intense. So first and foremost, if you've seen enough of my videos, you know that my 401k contribution deal is probably the most gazelle intense decision I've made. I won't go into that. I'll link the videos of me speaking on my 401k contribution deal. And so again, that's probably the most gazelle intense thing I've done. But here are some others. I don't spend nearly as much money or debt on clothes, shoes, purses that I used to. Like, I cut that out. Whenever I started this debt-free journey, I realized that I had so many clothes that had tags on them. When I went to go to eBay and sell them, like, I had a lot of clothes with tags on them. There's a picture. I'll try to see if I can find it that I can insert where, like, I mean, this is kind of messed up. It's kind of sad, but I mean, because I was in a sad situation. One point I went on Dooney. I love Dooney and Burke. I like their style, and I love their purses and wallets and everything. And I went on Dooney and Burke, and I bought several purses. I can't remember even how many. I'll see if I can find the picture, because I lined them up on my table, and I want to say that wasn't even all of the purses, but really it was more so to get an idea of what I wanted. I'm not rationalizing it, but it was to get an idea of which one I wanted to keep. But I purchased several purses with debt, even though I knew that I was going to return them, because I was only going to keep the ones I really, really wanted. I mean, really, like, I purchased lots of them to bring them home and to decide which one I wanted, when honestly, I couldn't afford one of them at the time. And that's the kind of stuff, like, you know, me spending money on clothes, shoes, purses has gone way down. I remember shopping online like crazy. The Dooney sites, other sites like Old Navy, and I would go online and buy hundreds and hundreds of dollars of items to get them home, to try them on like I was in the store, like to put them on a credit card. And even though I planned to return them by the time the interest hit, like I probably couldn't afford really any of it. But I was buying online so much that like I always had bags in the closet, and I always had shipping labels everywhere because I was always buying things online. And in order to keep that under control, like I've honestly had to unsubscribe to some of these online retailers. I've had to automatically send their emails to another folder, a junk folder, so it's not in my inbox, because I didn't realize how much online shopping I was doing for things that I simply couldn't afford at the time. How much I spend on personal care in some ways is very different. I loved pedicures, massages especially. I would love to go get a massage, and I felt like it was a necessity at times. Nowadays, the only time I'm going to the massage place is to get gift certificates for other people for gifts, which it makes me happy that they're happy. But pedicures, I cannot wait. Like whenever I'm debt free, that's one thing I'm going to pick up. I love that feeling of pampering, even though it's not extravagant. It was just something I really like to do, but I've cut that out. And last but not least in this list, hair. Hair is important. It's important to man, woman, child. It's important to Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, all of us. It's important to women, and it's important to Black women. And since I can remember, someone has always done my hair, styled it, deep conditioning, everything. In 2008, I embraced my natural hair, and I love it so much. And in 2009, started to style my own hair, style it, do it, and everything. So with that, I stopped going to salons to have my hair done by a professional, though over the course of the last several years, sometimes I would go and have someone else do it every once in a while when I just got burned out doing it on my own, or get color or anything like that. And since starting this debt-free journey, I have solely done my own hair, and that's a big thing. I've just learned a lot more about myself by dealing with my own hair, and it hasn't been always easy, but I love it. I love my hair, and it's probably something that seems not like a big thing to some people, but sometimes it can be a lot to manage, and I just had to find what works for me and something that I can manage on my own. But that saved me a lot of money. It saves a lot of money when you can do things like that on your own. Though, let me just be clear that once I'm debt free, I will certainly be going back to someone to have them do my hair, because I love it. And I think, they're professionals for a reason. They're creative, and it's beautiful, and there's so much you can do with your hair that I just love to see people be creative with their hair, and I plan on it. So on to some of the ways I'm not so Gazelle intense. One word: Starbucks. Oh, Starbucks. Especially around the holidays, the caramel brulee latte, the pumpkin spice latte. And even though there's ways, like at home, I try to buy the milk and the cinnamon and oh my gosh, there are just times when my car just drifts over into the Starbucks lane on its own. My gold card is automatically refilled, and I'm ordering some tall version of something, and it's just amazing. I'm sorry, I love Starbucks. I do. I love Starbucks, and Starbucks can be expensive. $4, $5, $6 for a coffee drink. Oh. So I'll admit, every once in a while, I give in to my indulgence with Starbucks. I just think it's great. And I like Dunkin' too now. I just love great coffee drinks. And I definitely try to schedule that out. Like I try to make sure like I'm not going several times a week and stay myself at home or be creative at home and save the money. But every once in a while, I let up on the intensity and I'm drinking me a caramel brulee latte. So, in the same vein of food, I've talked to you a little bit about my restaurant's budget. I tend to eat at restaurants. It's easy. Sometimes when I'm out and about, like I just tend to eat at restaurants. And normally it's not fast food restaurants. I'd say it's more so like family restaurants or more so sit down restaurants, and I may grab something to go. A salad or a pasta dish, salmon and salad. That's one of my favorite things to eat. And so those types of things. I mean, I know that I can go to the grocery store and get the groceries and make things. I know that, but sometimes it's just like I mean, and the thing is, like being, cooking for myself, I tend to like different tastes at different times. So I remember when I was first starting out, I had my first apartment and I would hear people say, make a big pot of spaghetti and eat on that for several times. And I don't know if I just burned myself out from spaghetti, but I cannot. I'm sorry. I want to say cannot, but I could, but it's just, I'm being honest with you. Like I burned myself out with eating spaghetti because I would make a big old pot of it and I would eat spaghetti almost every meal for it seemed like forever. I mean, it might have been 3 days, but I just can't do that anymore. And I'm telling you, like, I can't remember the last time I made a big pot of spaghetti because I just burned myself out on that. And when I normally cook for myself, it's somewhat gourmet style cooking. Like I'm making crab legs and pesto, pesto dishes and things like that. And that's not like, I'm not trying to act like I'm a cook because I'm not. And I don't want to sound like too much of a foodie. Honestly, if I had the budget, I would probably be somewhat of a foodie because I like different tastes and I like different experiences. One downfall of liking restaurants is and enjoying food that way is that I enjoy social experiences over food. Like I love when, I get asked out and, I meet someone at a restaurant, we're sitting and we're having, great meals, great food, great company, great conversation. Like I just love that, but that can be expensive, and I really have to rein in, eating out so much. And I'll just say like for, picking up groceries and stuff, like I wish I was more creative when it came to that. Like I remember my grandmother and my mother, how creative they were, my aunts, with cooking things and making things out of nothing. Like I remember coming home from church on a Sunday afternoon with my grandmother and my sister, and I would peek around to see what we're going to eat. I'd ask Grandma, what are we going to eat? And she'd say, I fixed something. All I could see was maybe a bag of flour and a can of homemade canned black-eyed peas and jelly beans or something like that. And she would whip up this meal out of what seemed like nothing. We have biscuits and cream corn and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it was like, that is the most creative thing. Like my mom is the same way. And my aunts, like they were just so great. And I know, like I can learn that. I feel that that's in me, but like I don't ever really have to do that so much without, the family dynamic. And when I cook anything for family events or church events, like I feel like it goes well. Like, I get compliments, but it's just not something I feel like I have to do all the time. And so eating out is a little bit easier for me. I do see how it can suck from my budget as well. And that's why it makes the list. Of not being so gazelle intense. And then last but not least, for the not so gazelle intense list is travel. Oh my gosh, I love to travel. I think I always have. Like I just love it. And I'm coming up on my birthday, and I'll tell you, even last year, I got out of Dodge for my birthday. It's just one of my favorite things to do. I love seeing new places, eating different foods at different places and having experiences and seeing different things, and it's just a beautiful thing. And so I love to travel. I will say that last year I was in this debt-free journey, and I told myself, if you plan to go out of town for your birthday, which I've done since I can remember, I've always gone out of town for my birthday. This year, I think I've decided not to go out of town for my birthday. I'm still on the fence about it. I probably won't this year because I just really am ready for this debt-free journey to be done. So I want to save the money and put that towards something else. I would say last year I decided I was going to go out of town. I felt I needed to have that time away. And so I told myself, in order to do this, you have to pay off your final student loan. And I did it. I paid off my student loan 2 days before I got out of town for a couple nights. And I told myself as well is that you have to save for it. Obviously, you can't afford it if you're not going to save for it. Like, and even Dave Ramsey says you can't afford to travel if you have debt. And I felt like I needed it. Sorry, Dave. But I felt like I needed to get out of town. And I did that. I paid off my student loan. I saved up the money. But I can tell you, it gives you a reality check to know you cannot afford 4 or 5 nights away. You can afford 1 or 2 nights. And so that's what I did. And I went and took those 1 or 2 nights away and just had a great time. So on to you. Share with me what ways or one way you are Gazelle intense or are not Gazelle intense. I would love to know. And the comment section is a no judgment zone. Y'all are really good about that. But, I'm not here to judge. We're not here to judge one another. But we're here to just share with one another. Like some things that you may hear that you say, are I had to give them up. You're like, can't give that up. Or you're just like, yeah, I gave that up a long time ago. So I'm just interested to hear what you definitely gave up. What was so easy for you to give up? And what are some of the things that you're just like, I don't know if I can give that up yet in order to go along this journey and be Gazelle intense? I'm interested to know. Leave me a comment in the comment section. Also, let me know what you think about today's video. It's such a gorgeous day. I had to be outside. I mean, it's just so beautiful. I'm so thankful for today's weather that I just said, well, I'll just try to film outside. I'll film in the car. So let me know what you think about that. Also, thank you so much for watching. As always, like, comment, share, subscribe, and have a great day. Bye.